Friendo Steve here.
And Larson.
Welcome back to Going In Raw News Brief. We're going to try to keep this one brief today, Larson. We also have a mailbag segment that you can listen to on the audio version of this show. Let's hop right into it. Speaking of brief, Dominion went down over the weekend.
Yeah.
I was up late with the friendos watching it. Larson, I'm just going to say this. No disrespect meant to the good people over at New Japan Pro Wrestling. You didn't miss a whole lot in terms of the actual
I watched the
wrestling.
3 last matches, so I watched the actual wrestling.
Okay.
I didn't get the live streaming experience with friendos in real time. I missed that because this whole thing's a mess right now. Bad neck, low on sleep. I need to get my rest. I need to take care of Larson.
Yeah, are you gonna? Are you gonna do that? Are you gonna confirm? Can you get that taken care of? I worry for you. I worry for you. For everything, the entire package.
This is the source of a lot of the issues.
Oh,
and
yeah.
This dates back for years. It's just getting really bad right now. So I need to find something out. I agree. It just might require at some point. I was told that when I was diagnosed that I got a jacked up neck. It might require surgery at some point. So we might be on the precipice of that potentially happening. I don't know. I have to look into that. Get it looked at. Anyway, so I did see the last 3 matches of Dominion. You told me to kind of skip the undercard, just watch the last 3. So that's what I did because I had about a couple hours last night.
I did that.
Like the never open weight title match was good. Shingo was fantastic.
No, that
Shingo
was great. That was great.
Had a great showing.
That was the lone great match, and even the tag title match was a really good match.
Tag title match was really good, and the finish was something I hadn't seen in quite a while, where basically it was Zack Sabre Jr. with the help of Tai Chi ripping off Tanahashi's legs, essentially.
That was the most painful finish of a match I've seen in a very long time, and that was a really good match. I'm sorry, don't get me wrong. That Shingo show match was
good.
Excellent.
It was really good. Yeah.
That was really good.
But a lot of the news around New Japan started at the New Japan Cup final. Evil defeated Okada, and then following that win, turned on Tetsuya Naito, his opponent, at Dominion. So we had that match in the main event. Given that Evil just turned heel and joined Bullet Club, you kind of knew he kind of had to win. Otherwise, there really was no point to that turn. It's kind of confusing, a bit beguiling, why they'd have Naito finally get his crowning moment at Wrestle Kingdom just in January. And then for them to have him lose already after 1 title defense at New Beginning is kind of confusing. And then to go with Evil, who, yes, I know in many respects is the most obvious choice, given that his name is Evil.
Yeah, makes total sense.
It does, but it's also kind of the least interesting story because he's the one that seemingly never kind of, like from my perspective, like aesthetically, he's the one that never really kind of fit in with the rest of LIJ, I feel like. His gimmick is way more kind of sports entertainment as opposed to the rest of them in terms of his overall packaging.
Yeah.
Evil's a perfectly fine wrestler. He's capable. He can put on good matches. I personally don't find him that captivating. I just feel like, and granted, they may have a reason they didn't do this. If it had been Sonata that turned, it would have made all the sense in the world. He seemingly reached his limit as member of LIJ. He's had all these opportunities, hasn't been able to follow through. But he thinks, I need a change of scenery to get over this hump. I feel like people would actually care if Sonata turned heel. I don't know if that's... I mean, it's shocking to see a member of LIJ turn, but I feel like if Sonata had done it, it would have simultaneously devastated people, but also it'd been pretty understandable. I don't know. I just feel like there's more. Personally, maybe it's just me. I like Sonata a lot more. I think Sonata's great. I think Sonata's got all the potential in the world. Maybe it's a situation where they had Evil turn, and Sonata's going to be the one who gets revenge or retribution on behalf of LIJ on Evil. That could be. I know Hiromu's going to get a shot the next show, taking on Evil for both those titles. I don't know. It just, I read about it the morning after. I was like, all right. He turned, and then I saw he won. I'm like, all right, that's interesting. But I don't know for at least for me personally, I don't know if it had the desired effect. And yeah, they're working shorthanded over there because there's travel restrictions.
Okay, so yeah, there's a couple things here. You just said a lot.
Yeah.
So there's a couple things. Number one, I don't really follow New Japan as much as like we used to, and so I can't really speak too much on, like, it's obvious that they've told like a relatively long term. I agree with you in that I don't find Evil to be the most interesting guy in the world. I do think that I am curious to know if there were changes made to their overall plan due to the travel restrictions.
Oh, I'm sure there were.
One thing that was completely clear to Dominion is that they are. The show felt very much like patchwork. And I believe that's because there were some big names. Kenta's, I think from what I understand, Kenta lives in the United States.
Yeah. There's no Ospreay, there's no Kenta, there's no Jay White. Yeah.
There's no Jay White. So Bullet Club in particular is not doing great. I understand why you'd want to balance Bullet Club out with a high profile thing. And that's Evil. In terms of why they would have put the titles on Evil at this point. And by the way, Evil is capable of really, really good matches.
Yeah, totally.
This was not one of them. This was not a good match. It was an overbooked mess at the end. But I do wonder if there had been changes to the schedule. Now this is, and I don't know if Naito's knees are both wrapped really, really heavily.
Yeah, he walks like someone who's got bad knees.
I wonder if this might be, he's been out of action because of the pandemic, since forever, like everybody else has been basically.
For about 5 months roughly, yeah.
For a long time. I don't know if maybe he needs to get something done to his knees, or maybe this has something to do with that. I'll put it this way. There are a lot of questions that we simply don't have the answers to. Sonata, from what I understand, I think his contract is like coming up soon, and if he hasn't re-signed, then I can understand why they wouldn't have put him in this spot. They seem to really like Evil because they've been telling this story with him for a while now. So yeah, I don't know, man. It was definitely shocking to see this. I just wonder if there are multiple extenuating circumstances behind it.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's also, New Japan, they did the same kind of thing with Jay White back when he won the title in, like, they put somebody in the slot of somebody else who's gone. And in that case, it was Kenny Omega was gone, and Jay White sort of moved into his spot, and they gave him the title. It was not a very good title run.
It wasn't, but in terms of the symmetry of the story they were telling with Jay White versus Okada when he first debuted, at least from a storytelling perspective, I understood that. And maybe it's just I'm not well versed enough in New Japan to find any parallels between this story with Evil or something else.
I think this one makes more sense than the Jay White one did. To plunk one guy into another guy's role, just and like that, like Evil, they've been telling some story with him. And I don't keep up with New Japan, but I keep on hearing, like, when we were talking about Sonata winning the New Japan Cup, people were like, nah, man, it's going to be Evil. Like, I saw that in our comments because they had been telling the story with him. So, I get that this is sort of a story. It was just, it's really shocking for this to happen when Naito, like the first title defense, post pandemic. Kind of shocking to see. Evil's not I'm with you. Evil's not the most interesting guy in the world. But again, I don't keep up that much with New Japan. Maybe if I did, I would find him more compelling given the story they've been telling with him.
Maybe, yeah, that's entirely possible. This is just from someone who casually watches New Japan's product. It was interesting development. I'm not sure if this increases the cool factor of Bullet Club at all. I know
given that he was wearing like a goth cheerleader outfit. That was not a good look.
I feel like Bullet Club is in a latter stage NWO phase, or at least the phase when Bischoff was trying to make him a motorcycle gang.
Yeah,
which I guess is exactly a late phase NWO, but it's like it's trying to be dad cool at this point, It's it's there again, pandemic is really. But even without pandemic, I don't know. I really like Kenta. I think he's great. Oh, Kenta's outstanding. Kenta is like the star of Bullet Club because he's a guy who you can't take your eyes off of when he's in the ring. His character work is awesome. He delivers when it comes to his matches. Kenta is great.
No Flow Joe here in chat says the crowd didn't even seem to be into the match, I believe. Well, here's the thing about that, though, is that this crowd Number one, they were doing the relative amount of social distancing in terms of like it was at half capacity. So there were like seats in between everybody, which by the way is a revelation. I would love to watch every wrestling match with an empty seat between me and the guy next to me. That'd be amazing. But then they also had signs on the seats themselves saying no cheering, no loud cheering, only clapping, please. And everybody was adhering to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know, like, you know, does that basically mean that a massive heel moment gets pure silence? Like, because you can't boo either, and there was a lot of clapping going on because that's what they were allowed to do. Mm-hmm. What do you do if you want to express your displeasure?
I guess like start banging on seats.
Yeah, there was none of that, so maybe this did go over like a wet turd to the crowd. I don't know. Anyways, but yeah, I would definitely say that Shingo show match was definitely one
really
to check
fun.
out.
I thought the tag match was a lot of fun too.
I thought the tag match was really good. The Okada match is hilariously bad. The tag match was a lot of fun. That ending was just absolutely brutal. It was so every leg whip in that match. Oh man, was so like I've never seen. It's great. Like, you know, you take the leg whip for granted a little bit. But man, the way they were doing in that match.
You watch how Tanahashi generally does it.
Oh yeah.
It's not just a little bit of offense. It's a major point of his offense.
It looks like he's really like going to tear that.
Yeah. And the way Zach was doing, especially with Taichi holding him up.
Oh man.
Like there's nowhere. I mean, I was worried, gosh, they're really going to jack up his leg. Oh, this is so bad.
I know. Yeah, it was good stuff. So yeah, that's Dominion. Interesting stuff. Next, SummerSlam in chaos. Go with New Japan just finishing their major summer show. We're going to talk now, Larson, about the biggest party of the summer. According to WrestleVote, seems like SummerSlam may be undergoing some serious creative upheaval. This is what WrestleVotes had to say. Was told this weekend the projected SummerSlam card that Creative had in place a few months ago has been torn up. Edge's injury played a big part, as well as the lack of audience. No fans means WWE has little desire to have Lesnar on the pay-per-view, so 2 major matches scrapped. That obviously would have been Edge, Orton, and Lesnar, Drew McIntyre. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I mean, it seems likely at this point they'll probably go with Drew, Randy, Orton. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are no other... Can you name another like heel that would be worthy of a SummerSlam match against
I mean, if they hadn't already done this, if they had taken their time more with Bob Lashley, that could have been something.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that'd have been great.
But we just saw that. So
yeah. And given that it's SummerSlam, and SummerSlam can sometimes be a big bummer, wouldn't shock me to see Randy come away with this title, especially given the work that he's doing. Mm-hmm. Maybe they'd feel that would be a ratings boost as well, because they desperately need that.
Yes.
I'm not sure how big of a fan I am of that move. But I would certainly understand. I'll put it this way, I wouldn't be opposed to it, but man, if Drew never gets to hold that title in front of a crowd,
I know that's a bummer, man.
That would be a big bummer, but I would totally understand it. At this point, like it's kind of like, God, what is it like? If there's no crowd there, does it really happen? I mean, I know it does because it's on TV and everything.
Yeah,
but
it's on TV, so it does happen.
It's just, yeah. I mean, even if it wasn't on TV and they did it, it would actually still happen. But yeah, it just doesn't seem to matter. You know what I mean? It just doesn't seem to matter.
Yeah. Anyways, Kevin Owens, he's pretty awesome. So last week we talked about the Fightful Select report, and by the way, go subscribe to Fightful Select. Awesome work, great news. Just shows up right in your email. It's fantastic. They stated that a Raw superstar had, quote, expressed his concerns to Vince about proper measures not being taken seriously enough, such as mask utilization and social distancing. This led to McMahon adding the rule that masks are mandatory and failure to comply will result in a fine. Well, today, Post Wrestling's John Pollock is reporting that Pat Laprade, host of the French language podcast, and I'm going to mispronounce this.
L'Antipode de la Lutte.
Sure. Mentioned on the July 9th edition of that show that it was Kevin Owens that stepped up to Vince and said that he was, quote, not comfortable over the lack of masks being worn and people being too close. When Owens mentioned that and told Vince that he was going to go home, Vince asked Owens what he wanted to do, and I guess that's when Owens said masks, social distancing, etc. And then Owens reportedly told McMahon that Vince was, quote, the only person the crew was going to listen to. Post Wrestling continues, quote, LeProd went on to describe that McMahon asked if instituting a policy with fines would work. Owens responded that he once swore on SmackDown, was fined, and never did again, proving it was a deterrent. Owens saw that people began wearing masks and keeping their distance, and he chose to stay for the tapings, which included last week's episode and the show airing tonight. So when this story first broke, or I first saw it, first name that popped in my head was Kevin Owens.
Yeah, same. Just the report originally said it was a returning superstar, and he hadn't been back for the tapings yet. But this is not shocking at all that it was him. He's obviously a very smart guy, a very responsible guy, and he does seem to have the ear of Vince McMahon. I mean, Vince McMahon let him headbutt the crap out of him a couple of years ago, and you know, he seems to have developed a really great relationship with Kevin Owens.
So good on Kevin Owens for standing up and making sure that proper social distancing and mask protocols are being adhered to. Speaking of pandemic, it looks like Miro is the latest wrestler to test positive. Of course, we heard last week that both of Lana's parents, unfortunately, had tested positive. I believe they're both in the hospital. So
her mom is out
good
of the hospital, but she's still the doctor. They're like still because Rusev apparently on his live stream he mentioned that he has the virus, and then he posted a YouTube video. It was like a 3 to 4 minute long YouTube video that I watched. I don't have any of the transcripts here, but he sort of told the story. He's like, yeah, I felt great. I just lost my sense of taste and smell. So I I went to see the doctor, got tested. He was like, I opened up my results and yeah, they called me and I picked up and they told me, yeah, I've got corona. He gave an update on Lana's parents. Her dad has lost a lot of weight, but he's doing okay. And then her mom just got discharged from the hospital. So hopefully they'll both be fine. I guess her mom has asthma. But so yeah, that was a complicating factor right there. They had her on auction and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a bummer. Our well wishes go to him. This might affect Slammiversary, Larson. Hold on while I let my dumb dog out the door.
Sure.
Talk about how excited you are about Slammiversary, Larson.
Oh, exceptionally excited. Slammiversary is going down this Saturday, July 18th, and Impact's been running a bunch of teasers for potential Impact returnees. Maybe some talent that was recently released from WWE back in April. We don't know if Miro is amongst those people, but the possibility exists that he could have been making an appearance on Slammiversary. Obviously, now that he's tested positive, that's not going to happen.
Talk about a show that's probably had to go through multiple. I mean, not probably, definitely has had to go through so far that we know of multiple changes. Kind of curious who's the mystery person. I mean, it's as if the mystery person is being left a mystery. I mean, I know it's to draw eyeballs, and that's a tried and true formula. Yeah. But at this point, it also makes you wonder if it's just a practical thing, because it's like, God, worst comes to worst, we can throw like Don Callis in there, or Josh Matthews if something we absolutely have to. It's the guy holding the cell phone, taping the show.
Yeah,
he might have to come in here.
It's like Dolph's stipulation for his match against Drew at Extreme Rules. It's a mystery because they probably don't know what it is yet.
They probably don't know what it is yet.
Speaking of Extreme Rules, we got the Raw Go Home episode tonight. I'll be doing a recap tonight with the Enforcer, Stevie Bradley. Steve's going on vacation, so we'll be going live roughly around 8:30 p.m. Pacific time.
It's not going to be a long vacation. I'll miss News Brief tomorrow.
And Wednesday too, right?
And depending on what time we do it on Wednesday, I'll be back by I'll probably be back by 1 or 2.
All right.
I think we have to check out by noon, so I'll be back at the latest. I'll be back by 2.
Gotcha. So this we got on tap for Raw.
So yeah, I'll probably miss Wednesdays.
Yeah, you'll probably miss Wednesdays. Asuka and Kairi Sane challenging Sasha and Bayley for the women's tag titles tonight. That'll be good.
Yeah, that'll be good. R-Truth goes one-on-one with Randy Orton.
Kevin Owens and Seth Rollins clash in a WrestleMania rematch.
And then the Viking Raiders square off with Andrade and Angel Garza in a karaoke showdown.
No.
In an elimination tag team match. That'll be fun. I like elimination matches.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
I really wanted a karaoke showdown, though, Larson.
No, I got my fill of them on Friday.
Oh, fair enough. Anyways, that's it for News Brief. Thanks, everybody, for watching. We appreciate it. If you want to listen to our mailbag, have your questions answered, you can absolutely do that. We are available wherever audio podcasts can be found. Hey, man, hit that like button. Let's try to get this one up to 600. Thanks for watching. Till next time, we'll talk to you later.
Goodbye.